Hi guys, Brandon and Lana here. Welcome and welcome back to our channel. We've been keeping you current on what's going on in the market and kind of giving you stats and numbers. But today we wanted to let you know how much does it cost to purchase a house. And we're not talking about the cost, we're talking about the expenses that you will be facing between under contract to close. Very important because again, down payment, it's not the only thing you will be spending your money on, but how much is it? So Brandon, take it away.
So how much is it? That's a big question, and it's going to depend on what your qualifications are and how you're financing it, what you've saved up. So down payment is a big one that comes right out of the gates. Not everyone, but a lot of people think they need 20% to buy a home. Just not the truth. There are programs where you can use as little as 1% or even $1,000, but realistically those programs tend to cost a lot more money. So the ranges we typically see people purchasing in is anywhere between 3.5% and 20% down for the down payment. And again, that's going to depend on what your qualifications are, and then also that will have an impact on your interest rate.
Correct. So, and when we say percentage, like 3%, 20%, it's off the purchase price. Right. So if you are looking at a $500,000 home, 3%, that's $15,000, just for the quick, easy math.
And don't forget that that percentage goes towards your principal. So it's not like you're spending that in addition to, that portion goes towards paying down whatever that house is, whatever the purchase price is.
So when does that down payment due?
So the down payment is due at closing. So when you are all buttoned up and the transaction's coming to an end, that's when you pay your down payment. All
right, so what is the first thing that they would need to worry about?
The first thing they'd need to worry about is, of course, the earnest money. That's going to be the first expense that's going to come out of it. Basically, this is the money that you're giving into the transaction, basically putting it up as your collateral, getting the seller to take it off the market, put it under contract. This portion of money is normally dictated by the seller, but is negotiable. Always, and you can tend to see it land somewhere around 1% to 2% of the purchase price, and this portion is what will also go towards your principal as a portion of the down payment. That portion of money is protected through the contingencies. So the contingencies that your agent puts in the contract, there are certain spots for you to be able to have that opportunity to get your earnest money back based off of those contingencies.
All right, so what's next?
Next would be in transaction costs. So there are a few costs that are going to happen within the transaction that you really want to make sure you pay attention to. One of them is going to be inspection. That's going to be coming up pretty quickly, and it's just going to depend on the type of inspection that you want. For here, the most common ones here in Colorado, the most common ones are the inspection, the regular general home inspection, which can be done by a local inspector, not licensed. And then the other costs could be sewer scope, furnace, electrical, radon testing. Those are all things
mold, lead-based paint.
Yeah, mold, lead-based paint. Just depends on what you're doing.
So pretty much what we're looking at, full health of the house. That's a main inspection, and then it's entirely up to you what you're going to do afterwards.
The other in-transaction cost is going to be the appraisal. So the appraisal is basically someone's price opinion that you're hiring to be able to show value to the bank for the property that you're about to be receiving lending on, or it's also just for your personal knowledge to figure out how much the home is worth before you purchase it to make sure it's a good purchase. So some of the other costs that you're going to want to take into consideration, of course, are going to be some fix-up costs or improvement costs or competition costs. I put all of these together because they all kind of wrap into the same thing. Competition costs are if you are in a multiple offer situation, do you have the cash to be able to compete with the other homes? What's interesting right now is you're either competing with cash or you may be getting a home that needs fix up and you've got to plan on using that money towards the fix up later on, or both. So knowing what those costs are, again, this is where the inspector, the real estate agent really come in handy as far as explaining these costs, explaining these these expenses to you.
All right, so it sounds like we're getting close to the closing. What else is there for costs?
So closing costs. So there are a lot of costs that are wrapped into the closing costs, and I'm going to unravel them a little for you. So lender fees if you're going to be getting a loan, title fees, recording fees, sometimes real estate fees, if there are any fees for work that have been done for you during the transaction. There are a lot of costs that could be included in this, as well as some of the proration costs, so things like taxes for a certain period of time, or payoffs for certain things that you're needed to take care of during the loan process. There's just a lot packed into it. Generally, you can expect somewhere around 1% to 2% depending on your lender. Realistically, it could be even less than that if you're picking the right lender. We have some really good recommendations on those as well to keep those fees down, just because those are sometimes frivolous costs. So the other costs that I kind of want you to think of as you're moving forward, and this is just a good way to budget in general, are the moving costs or the setup costs. So as you're moving into your new place, obviously you have the movers or some sort of moving cost to moving all of your stuff from one place to the other, but also the setup costs. So setup costs for utilities, setup costs for possibly furniture. There are all sorts of fees that could be included in that I just want you to be aware of for when you're making that big move.
Oh, that last one, not a lot of people think about, which is utility setup cost and the moving cost. Let's recap. We have Earnest Money. That is the first expense after you go under contract, and it is within 1% to 2% of the purchase price. Next, we're looking into inspection, appraisal. We have closing costs. Then you mentioned the improvement or like the competition cost as well. And closer to the closing, it is down payment, and afterwards we are looking at utility setup cost or moving cost. Yep. Sounds like a lot. So you guys, we will be including actually check sheet on our website, so you can go to brandonandlana.com and download the worksheet so you can actually calculate how much it is for you, because again, number will vary per the purchase price. But wow, that's a good information. All right, well, I'm sure you learned something today and you know what to do. Check out brandonandlana.com for more great content. But for this video, this is it. Thank you for sticking around.
Bye.
Ready?
I'm ready. I'll startle you.
It's okay. Okay?
Yep.
So when does the payment due? Down payment. Due.
Huh?
What? Do you want to close it up?
Nope.
Okay.
You can.